Hey, what's going on, movie lovers all over the world? This is your boy Testify to the Music, giving you another movie review. And today I'm going to be reviewing the 2016 film, The Conjuring 2. So jumping straight into it. So once again, we have Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga reprising their roles from the first film as the infamous couple of Ed and Lorraine Warren, the famous paranormal investigators who went all around doing and solving these different cases and everything. So you have them reprising their roles and they're coming back. You had their daughter also reprises her role as well in this film. And so what you essentially end up having is we end up seeing essentially what she saw in her vision in the first film. That's kind of fleshed out here and played on a lot throughout the film. And then they meet this family where the girl was playing, of course, with something that she shouldn't have been playing with, and it invited an evil spirit into the house that didn't want to leave, which ends up causing the house to get haunted, and then eventually leads to the girl getting possessed as well. So you have all of that going on, and that's pretty much just the general basis of the film. It is a little convoluted towards the end because there's a lot going on, but I'll talk about that later on. My initial thoughts on The Conjuring 2, I have to agree with critics when I say it has to be one of the best horror movies I've seen so far this year. And we've gotten a few crappy ones this year, so that's saying something. Now compared to the original one, no, it's not as good as the original one, but it still has something definite to offer, from the tracking style of James Wan's infamous shots to the numerous jump scares that you see throughout here, and then the way you feel for the characters, and essentially he makes it so much to where it's like a family film. It's all about family togetherness and keeping this family together. And that's one of the things that I like about James Wan, is you can tell when he directs and he does these big ensemble pieces, it's about family. I mean, look at Furious 7. I mean, that was all about family. In the first Conjuring, you had the relationship between Patrick Wilson and Vera's character, and you had that going on. Then you had the inner workings of what was going on with the family and everything. And then it's the same thing here. You have the relationship between Wilson and Vera. You have that going on, along with what's going on with the single mother and how she's trying to raise her kids on her own after the husband has left. And so getting into some other aspects, you can just tell that James Wan, he just has that family dynamic. But getting into some other cool aspects of what happened in the film, I love the use of tension. There was a lot of tension. This movie actually had me on the edge of my seat. You can ask my buddy Red Dog. We went and saw it last night around 5-6 o'clock, and I was on my edge of the seat the entire time. There was literally tension all over the place. There was jump scares all over the place. It was just, oh gosh, it was just a horrifying experience. Pretty much almost as horrifying, if not even more horrifying, than the first time I watched The Conjuring. And the first time I watched that, I believe I watched it with him as well. If not, I think I watched it by myself, which I don't recommend watching The Conjuring or The Conjuring 2 by yourself, because after a while you're going to get a little paranoid and get freaked out. Because I know when I got home, I was a little freaked out and a little paranoid, so I didn't sleep much last night. But getting into some negatives I had about the film, there's really not that many negatives here. Honestly, I would say the use of jump scares may have been a little too much with the loud music, but again, that's just, James Wan, he has that infamous style, and I'm not saying that jump scares are bad, but when you rely on them too much or rely on too loud noises too much, it kind of takes away from your film. But James Wan kind of uses it here to where it works in his advantage, but it's still a lot of, jump scares. The first one didn't even rely on jump scares pretty much. I think it had maybe all of 2 jump scares. Other than that, it just relied on creepiness and tension alone. Another thing here, and this just is like a little minor spoiler, you have like 3 entities all going on at once. It felt a little crowded. I think if they would have focused maybe on one, it would have been a little bit better. It got a little crowded towards the end because you have these 3 entities that are all trying to converge on this family. One is friendly, and then one is just someone putting on a front and hiding behind the scenes of the friendlier one, I guess you could say. So it's kind of crazy, but it got a little mashed up at the end. And speaking of the end, I liked how it ended. It is a little different than the first Conjuring. The first Conjuring ended with them, Patrick Wilson going off screen, and we get the infamous track shot of what it looks like in their the room that they have, where all the items that they've collected from all of their cases that they've done. You had that item. We had that shot here somewhat, but then it ends with them, of course, dancing and whatnot. And again, that's just like a little minor spoiler and whatnot, because they've already apparently been confirmed for doing The Conjuring 3, but James Wan necessarily might not be coming back because, he's got Aquaman going on. But I will say, giving this a score, I'd have to give this a solid 5 out of 5. Even with those little minor negatives that I mentioned, it's still an overall great film. If I had to rate the first film, I'd give it a 7 out of 5. So for me, it wasn't as great as the first one, but it was still a great film, and it's definitely a watch. I definitely recommend you go check it out in your local theater whenever you get a chance to. But YouTubers, I'm curious to know, what did you guys think of The Conjuring 2? Are you gonna see it? Have you already seen it? Post your thoughts down in the comment section below. Also, if you like the movie review, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. It helps out the channel immensely. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel because I do movie reviews consistently. I'm hoping to get some more up sometime this week. Thank you all so much for checking out this video. I'm Testified to the Music, aka Mikey Savage 21, saying peace out.